let's go ahead and give Nate some props, okay? Because he might have actually been right. All right, he posted up the Vince McMahon GIF on Twitter of him walking to the ring, talking about the Spawncast, because there is a report once again at Bloomberg following up saying that there were going to be, for the Switch revision that Bloomberg continues to report on from Takashi Machizuki, after talking about the OLED displays, now talking about the upgraded CPU, which basically the SoC, I think is what they were trying to say, additional RAM, and what was the other thing they mentioned, Nate, that you've been talking about for a while?
DLSS.
There you go. So corroborated from Bloomberg.
No, not real.
I can't believe we're talking about rumors. Oh my god.
So there we have it, Nate. You appear to have at least been backed up here by Bloomberg. So it's good to see. Very interesting.
It's a good endorsement to get from Bloomberg. It's pretty high. Pretty high.
Yeah, but once again, it's going to be a couple of months before anything even comes out about any plans for Nintendo in there. So it's basically like, okay, we have this, and now we just wait for legit 4 months or something.
Yeah, you'll wait. I mean, legitimate confirmation from Nintendo itself won't be coming for a long time, but this is obviously this is a snowball going down a hill, and it's continuing to pick up the same information, which means there's something to it. This isn't just smoke.
Also, I want to bring this up. I want to bring this up real quick because people keep saying that like it was mentioned every single year that like the Switch Pro or something was going to come out, and I think dating back to before the Switch even came out, there was that mention of stuff at the factory. I remember that, but for the most part, 2 years ago, there was talked about there being a Switch Mini and a Switch Pro, and I think a lot of people moved away from the Switch Pro and said, okay, yeah, there's definitely a Switch Mini happening, and that ended up being correct, the Switch Lite. Last year, there was talks about the Switch Pro until Nintendo said, yeah, we're not doing any kind of revision, and then everybody moved away from that. But now Nintendo's not saying there won't be a Switch Pro. They just have no comment.
Well, didn't Nintendo say that we're not doing one this year?
Yeah, this year was their word. Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah, they didn't say they weren't doing one. They just said no, not one this year.
The thing about the 2019 report is there technically was another Switch. It was the better battery life one.
That's true.
That came out with the Switch Lite. So, you know,
actually, that's a good point. Actually, a lot of these reports have been correct then, because it was like the Switch Mini, which was Switch Lite, but no one thought was going to happen. It was fake news then. We get the Switch Lite, and then we did get a revised Switch, technically, with the Moriko chip that was 6 nanometer fabrication. So, actually, that was technically correct too.
You know what the funny thing is, John? More people, I think, thought that the Switch Mini or whatever, Switch Lite, wasn't going to happen than Switch Pro at this point. Personally, because everyone was saying, well, why have a Switch? Remember, like when we
you're right. Yeah.
Why have a Switch Mini? It's already portable.
And we started to get more info, and I was like, this is gonna be so weird because it's gonna be a Switch that doesn't switch. And I was like, nah, that's not it. Then we actually got that leak from the factory, and it was the turbo switch. And I was like, this is it. And people were
was like the dead ass picture. Everyone was like, no, it's fake. And then
it was this right in front of the camera, and we're like, oh, that's interesting. It even had the full code number and everything, and people were like, it might be fake.
Yeah, and I was like, no, that's I'm pretty sure Switch Mini, and it's like, nah, there it is. Somebody literally snapped a pic.
I think enough of us, if I remember correctly, like we thought it made sense because Nintendo always goes light before they do an upgrade of some sort.
Well, I liked the idea of it. I think I was the person that was the most skeptical of it being real because there was so many people online already saying I play my normal Switch handheld. I don't know if I need one that can't dock. So I was the one person who thought I'd like it, but I'd be curious if it exists. And yeah, holy crap!
So
I think it was a big success.
Tend to forget history with some of this stuff because it's actually been pretty dead on. Yeah, to be honest. So
to me, I thought it was going to happen when they say, "Oh, Switch that doesn't switch." Okay, a Nintendo 3DS that doesn't do 3D.
Yeah, I remember you saying that years ago. I remember
that was, well, what's the whole point of it? Well, it does 2D. It's called a 2DS. So I mean, like a Switch that doesn't switch. That to me, it was a replacement. If Nintendo did this, it would be a replacement for the DS, which essentially kind of what it is. It's a replacement for that, and you just play everything on there, and Nintendo's done with that. So I when people said it Switch that doesn't switch, I was just like, well, Nintendo's done crazy things like that, like take away the main gimmick of the system anyway and just brand it as something else. So I mean,
now I'm not going to say that there are definitely people that thought that there was going to be like a full-on PS4 Switch Pro like every year this past like 3 years, but for the most part, I think a lot of the reports have been pretty accurate. Who's that? Bigger.
Stop ignoring me. Who are you talking about?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He said, there are people. What people? I don't hear him. But who you talking about? Huh?
So I actually think a lot of the reports from Bloomberg and stuff have been pretty correct. Although Takashi Machizuki did report 1440p before the Switch came out, so who knows?
Bastard. Fooled us all.
I think that this is. I think the Switch Pro is real. I think that part of the reason there's so much conversation around this, because I've noticed that there's been a bunch of hype videos, of course, but I have seen people saying like, why is everyone so excited for the Switch Pro? And I think that part of it is that we appreciate Switch games as they are now. We like the art, we like the load times, whatever, but I think that more resolution, more graphics, the idea of seeing the most beautiful possible Zelda, I mean, I'm always down for it. So I think there's a lot of like those people that are jumping on Switch late who are going to be extra hyped for this.
Yeah, sure.
I hope they do like a patch for the Switch Pro for Monster Hunter Rise. That could
I know, dude.
That
I
could be
thought
really
the whole time.
Can it 60 on that?
Woo.
60 frames?
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be pretty cool. Actually, I'd rather just go to 60 frames because I'm fine with how it looks now. If it goes, so that'd be cool for like the overall feeling and input of the game. But you know what? I did have one question before we move on and finish up with the super chats and anything else there. So I thought about this because people were talking about the overall pricing of this thing, right? That was something else that came up, and it was an idea that it could be $350 to $400, and a lot of people thought, hey, I don't know if Nintendo could actually get $400 for a system. Like the most expensive they tried was $350. That was with the Wii U, right? It's like the deluxe edition. And people look at that and say, okay, that was too expensive, obviously, because the Wii U didn't sell. But I think they can sell the Switch at $400, the Switch Pro or Switch whatever. I think they could do it if they market it correctly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Wii U didn't. Go ahead, Miss Click.
I was just to say the marketing they've done with the Switch so far has been, they've targeted the audience properly. They've grown up with the audience this generation around. And I think overall, people have had a really positive reaction to the Switch. They've had positive memories. And if you can do that amplified or better, I think some people are going to be like, yeah, this is worth it to me. Like, I don't know. I genuinely think that they could do 400 if they really, really wanted to. And you know what? Like, I'm still on my base Switch. Like, I haven't bought another one. The only thing I would buy would be like
Switch?
I have they sent me out a Switch Lite. They sent me out a Switch Lite, so I have that, and I'll play that. I'll play certain games on my Switch Lite and certain games, docked here with my normal Switch. But like I know that for me personally, like if they were like, hey, this is 400, you're getting all this new better stuff. You're gonna see things.
I don't even want to say how many Switches I have. Then Click.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna say like 8.
I think I've paid
It's
for
close.
5.
It's close. I think it might be 7.
Oh my
the
God.
Wii U didn't sell at $350 because the Wii U had a very bad, yes, I'll say bad launch lineup when it comes to first party games.
Sure.
And the marketing on it was confusing. Everything about the system wasn't very.
But everyone said there needs to be third party though. We need third party games at launch. There's a bunch of third party.
You need third party, but you need first party. First party is what. Why do PlayStation systems sell? Because the third party games, maybe to some degree, but look at your best selling PlayStation games: Uncharted, your Marvel Spider-Mans, your God of Wars. Look at the Nintendo Switch, Ghost of Tsushima.
I would
Look
say
at the Nintendo Switch.
PS5 right now. It's probably just sold on hype currently.
It is. And the thing of it is,
right now
you're in a completely different video game marketplace than you were with the Wii U. Nintendo is now a name that people once again like. I saw someone in the chat say, well, you could get a PlayStation 5 for $500 or for $100 more. If a Switch Pro is $400, no one's going to buy that. People were buying the Switch during the pandemic at over $400 on eBay just because they wanted the fucking thing. So the Switch is already sold at a $400 price point for a while, for a good chunk of the year because of supply issues. Yep. And the thing of it is, it's not the only option. You still have the Switch Lite. You still have the standard Nintendo Switch, from what we assume, because, they keep saying a family of systems. Mm-hmm. So this is for the people who want that extra boost. This is for us. This is for the more hardcore gamer, That's how I view it.
Well, this Have y'all heard the ragu philosophy, which is that they discovered that instead of trying to make one perfect sauce, you got to have a bunch of sauces. And some people want one, somebody wants chunky mushrooms, some people wants garden blend, somebody wants 4 cheeses. But having more sauces on the shelf increased your overall sales, even if people are only buying parts of it. I think this is kind of that thing as well, of like they realized that we have a 2DS, a 3DS, a 3DS XL, a 2DS XL. All of them sell better across the board just because there's more options and more tiers. I think that Nintendo's trying to do that again. Of if you have a Switch Lite, a Switch Revision, and now the Switch Pro, people are going to buy all of them more across the board.
So, Click, they show off this new Switch, right? They announce it. What do they got to announce to get you off that base Switch? Okay, because apparently that's like you've bought one Switch. That's it. What do they got to announce? And it's 400. It's 400. What do they got to? What do they got to do to be like?
If you just brought in even just more power, battery life for sure. But I think for me, they could even just be like, hey, this thing is not mobile. I would be fine with that too. Like if you couldn't undock it,
Okay,
if it was just stationary, wouldn't bother me either. But I play my Switch mainly docked, so I might be a different case. But for me, I would just like to see more power behind it, get some better graphics and more support for other parties wanting to bring their games over. And I think they realize that. Like I think Nintendo's like, we're making a lot of money. They're making a lot of money. There are games that can't come over right now, or games that are coming over and we're getting a bad rep because they look like crap. You know, like if you could have those come over and they look better and they run better, I think it's a win-win for everybody. So I don't know. There's, for me, you could always be like bigger screen and stuff like that, but I don't know how that would affect the battery life and stuff in the long run. But yeah,
so
no,
they just said 4K, runs better games.
Oh,
You'd
yeah.
be like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. I think that's how a lot of people are, especially people who are more enthusiasts, I guess you'd say, would be like, yeah, okay, cool, 4K, that works. I'm in for that. But also, they keep selling Switch systems to the same household over and over again. I have a feeling there are several households that have multiple Switch systems in them right now.
Yours and OJ's?
Mine. Yeah, Max has a couple. Jordan has a couple. Sean has a couple of Switch systems.
A couple.
Well, yeah, I think I have 3 Switches. My roommate has a separate Switch. He's got the Animal Crossing Switch and stuff. I think a lot of people have a lot of.
I know a couple people who
like
got
for a more normal example, my cousin, she has one of her kids has a Switch Lite, and then they have a Switch that they keep at home just docked.
Yeah, I know one family got 3 Switch Lites. Actually, all at once, all past Christmas, just for the kids. So it's like, oh, all right, there you go. There's 3 Switches in the house now. So that's what Nintendo said they want to do, is have multiple Switches in a household. So
all comes down to marketing, how they market it, and what kind of like what's in it. If they do that well, then people will buy it at that price. People buy stupid overpriced iPhones all day. So
that's true. And you know what? Some of the hardware and some of those like MacBooks and stuff they put out were pretty basic, but they dressed it up and made it look pretty, and it sold for like thousands of dollars. I
don't want to talk about Apple and their schemes. Okay.
Actually, Nate, what do you think about this? Okay. Do you think that if Nintendo dressed it up a bit more, it would be an easier sell too? Like instead of just be all plastic, it may be more of an aluminum type body, something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a premium shell. This is going to be a premium product, so they can justify coming in at a higher price. It's not going to be the same plastic shell and outing that we already have on the current Switch. They're going to make this look special, and feel like you're actually buying something that is quality. So they have to, especially if they do want to come in at $350, $379, or $400. You have to make this stand out from the Switch that's on the shelves right now, beyond just the new technology. 4K, you have to have something else to sell it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most expensive they try to sell a system at, is $400.